to powers, empowering your productivity, we're still talking about how do we optimize our hourly productivity and our performance, okay? So if you remember our last episode, we talked about what is capacity and how do we define capacity. So if you remember our example, our real life example where we were talking about the slicer, the multi-vac and pack off, we realized that our multi-vac became our bottleneck at 100 pounds per hour. Now you had an assignment last time where you were supposed to go out to your line and find out what your bottleneck was and what is the true capacity of your line. Now that you've got that figured out, what we're going to talk about today is how do we actually go out to our line and really understand plan actual variance and what are the causes that are preventing us from hitting our full capacity. So I'm going to use my example. You can refer back to your example that you did on your own. So for my example, my multi-vac, if we all remember, my capacity was 100 pounds per hour. So now that I know that as a supervisor, I'm going to go to this station. And when I start my line, I'm going to start to understand, am I hitting this on an hourly basis? So am I hitting 100 pounds per hour? Okay. Let's say in hour one, after my startup, I had a very successful startup and I hit 100 pounds per hour. Well, I would get a check mark for that. Now, let's say I get into hour two and I only hit 50 pounds per hour. Well, I've hit half of my capacity. Well, I have to find out where that's stemming from, okay, and where those variances are occurring. Now, that could be upstream in my process, meaning that could be back to my slicer, or it could be the inputs happening into my slicer, or that could be downstream into my pack-off area. I may have a bottleneck occurring here that I don't realize it's actually preventing me to actually run my multi-vac. We need to make sure that once we understand that we have a variance that's occurred, we need to start engaging our operators out on the floor and understanding our upstream or downstream variances that are affecting us from meeting 100% productivity. Now, what we're also looking for is where our lost time and waste is when we are engaging our employees. Let's talk about 3 specifics of lost time and waste that you could have. 1, mechanical downtime. That would be maybe my slicer has had an operating problem or a motor has gone out or we have not been, for some reason, we're not able to run it. Well, that would obviously prevent me from hitting my 100 pounds per man hour. So we need to come up here to the slicer, engage our operators, understand what is happening, how is maintenance getting involved, and what is the time that I lost on that piece of equipment, and what is the time to repair that piece of equipment. Second piece you may have, let's talk about yields. So even though I'm getting 250 pounds per hour out on my slicer, maybe I'm having some quality issues and I'm only really getting 200 pounds per hour, or maybe I'm only getting 50 pounds per hour, and that's preventing my multi-vac from running at its full capacity, okay? So when we talk about yields, it's about where is our product going and where are the losses of our product. Now, the biggest one you have to watch out for is hidden lost time. Not many people talk about this. When we discuss hidden lost time, think about it this way. What happens if my slicer is running and it has full equipment reliability, my multi-vac is operationally functional, and my pack-off area is resourced correctly? Well, if I don't have any product running down the line, this multi-vac is still requiring me to hit 100 pounds per hour. So not having product on the line is actually preventing me from hitting my target capacity. And I may have to go upstream further than the slicer. Maybe this is called what we could call inventory, and find out what's happening in my raw materials and my inputs that still won't allow me to hit my capacity constraints. As you're working with your operators, identify the variances that are preventing you from hitting capacity, making sure that our end-all target and our communications to our employees is, again, 100 pounds per hour on capacity. So go out there, power your productivity, and get to that capacity.